This is SSVC Television.
The news from ITN.
Anti-terrorist squad joins hunt for police killer. Major tells Bush, I'll probably sign environment treaty. Buckingham Palace says it won't get involved in circulation war. And England team go to Sweden without key defender. Good evening. Anti-terrorist squad detectives joined the murder hunt tonight for two gunmen who shot dead a special constable in North Yorkshire. A regular policeman was also wounded. They were attacked after stopping a car in a routine check. Police refused to rule out a link between the attack and an overnight bomb blast in London.
Well into this evening, dozens of armed police continued the search of an area around Tadcaster, looking for the vital clue which could lead detectives to the man who murdered one of their colleagues. Special Constable Glenn Goodman was married with a 10-month-old son. In the early hours of this morning, he was shot dead. His colleague, PC Sandy Kelly, was seriously injured in the shooting. Their patrol car had stopped a red Sierra here on the main Leeds to York road. Within minutes of making their getaway, the gunmen found a second police car on their tail. It's understood one of the men in the Sierra got out of the car and fired again. The police vehicle was driven off the road, but two officers inside, one of them a WPC, were unhurt. Spent cartridges littered the road. Eyewitnesses said they heard automatic gunfire.
A red Sierra that went past. I looked up to wood over there, and it were on fire. There was just black smoke.
The Sierra's remains were found in a farmer's field nearby. Police say both gunmen are white, one in his late 20s, the other in his 40s. Tonight, North Yorkshire's Chief Constable visited the injured officer in hospital.
He said he'd never met Glenn before last night, but he said we got on really well. He was a tremendous chap. And he said that they were discussing Glenn's prospective interview for the police force as a regular officer.
Police are investigating a possible link with the bomb at London's Festival Hall last night, thought to be the work of the IRA. Nobody was injured in the explosion, despite the fact that it went off without warning. As North Yorkshire police continue their investigation into the Tadcaster shooting, a connection between the two incidents has not yet been confirmed. But the sheer ruthlessness of this killing suggests that a terrorist gang could have been responsible for the murder of Special Constable Goodman, who was enrolled as an officer just 3 weeks ago. Jonathan Munro, ITN, in Tadcaster.
John Major told President Bush tonight that Britain will probably go ahead and sign a key treaty at the Earth Summit in Rio de Janeiro. President Bush continues to oppose the Biodiversity Treaty aimed at saving endangered species.
In the informality of the presidential retreat, the special relationship alive and well, except on one issue. The treaty designed to preserve plant and animal species, which will come before the Rio summit. Britain, along with the rest of Europe, almost certainly will sign it. America almost certainly won't. And this summit amid the greenery apparently did nothing to change that.
I'll see if you tried to persuade the President to change his mind about not signing the Biodiversity Treaty, and if you did, whether you met with any success.
We have problems with the Biodiversity Convention as well as the United States. We have problems with some of the financial proposals and some other allied problems as well. I think we'll probably be able to solve them, but the difficulties that we instinctively see with them are a good deal less than those that the United States face.
Mr. Bush argues the treaty could damage economic growth at home.
I have nothing to be apologetic for, and I also have to be the one at this conference that is responsible for jobs and people being at work in this country.
This press conference was full of reminders that this is an election year in America and that President Bush's hold on the White House is by no means assured. And when Mr. Bush goes to Rio later this week, he will be constantly looking over his shoulder at the way voters here are likely to respond to anything he agrees at the summit. Edward Sturton, ITN, Camp David.
One of the central issues of the Earth Summit is the destruction of the Amazon rainforests. The Environment Secretary, Michael Howard, saw the rainforests for himself after arriving in Rio with the Overseas Development Minister, Baroness Chalker.
A convoy through the world's biggest rainforest, and after a setback or two in the mud of the Amazon, Britain's Environment Minister comes face to face with one of the richest and most threatened environments on Earth. It's a battleground between developers and conservationists. And from the top of a huge tower, Michael Howard was here to see how one joint British-Brazilian project tracks the vast forest's destruction.
1,000 kilometers in that direction, 1,000 miles over to the Andes. It is just absolutely astonishing.
Fear for the forest was one root cause of the Earth Summit, now bogged down in disputes over how much rich countries will pay to preserve the environment.
The Amazon rainforest is at the very heart of the controversy at the Earth Summit, home to thousands of plant and animal species found nowhere else, but being destroyed at a rate of 60 acres a minute.
The treaty to preserve species at the core of summit disputes won't be signed by the US, isn't yet signed by Britain. Watching the Xingu Amazon tribe today, Development Minister Baroness Chalker. But as she relaxed, crowds nearby with a flag full of signatures called for progress as this crucial summit slips into its second week. Bill Neely, ITN, Rio de Janeiro.
The Prime Minister has refused to comment tonight on what he calls unsubstantiated rumours about the royal family. Buckingham Palace says it won't comment on speculation about Princess Diana's marriage to keep a circulation war going. Friends of the royal family have leapt to their defence. One spoke of a conspiracy against them.
If this is just a circulation war between publishers and media proprietors, as Buckingham Palace officials described it today, there's no sign of any truce being called. Fleet Street were out in full force at Cowdray Park as Prince Charles rode out the storm of speculation surrounding his marriage. The Princess of Wales stayed away from the game and the cameras, driving the children back to Kensington Palace. The book serialised in the Sunday Times today claims it was the prince's indifference to his wife that caused her chronic depression and 5 separate suicide attempts.
Buckingham Palace officials have denied once again today that the Princess of Wales cooperated in any way with the book and refuses to dignify its claims with any further comments. But the repercussions are continuing.
At the Queen's Cup polo tournament in Windsor Great Park this afternoon, all attention was on Camilla Parker Bowles, a long-time friend of Prince Charles, a relationship which the book claims sparked off jealousy in the princess. Her husband holds the honorary position of silver stick-in-waiting to the Queen, who was also present at the tournament. To anyone watching the sheer number of press surrounding members of the royal family, there might be an impression of a monarchy under siege, but Buckingham Palace say it's all publishers' hype. David Chater, ITN, at Windsor.
For today's newspapers, the dramatic allegation of 5 suicide attempts by the princess was too much to resist. But tonight, those newspapers in turn are under assault from the politicians. Lord St John of Fawsley, close friend of Princess Diana's family, as well as former leader of the Commons, led the charge of the Royal Brigade.
This is a concerted conspiracy against the royal family in order to discredit them in the minds of the people, and it's a situation the like of which we've never seen before.
I think there has been damage caused. What I do think, however, is that that damage is containable if it stops there. But we can't go on with this raking over the entrails, not if we want the monarchy to continue.
Others stress the damage being done to a royal family which is still an essential part of the British Constitution.
Like many of their cousins on the continent, the media may ruin the monarchy, may send the monarchy into exile, and this country will have lost the best form of government that it has ever had and that the world has ever seen.
Even John Major in America, to talk about the future of the world, has found himself questioned about the future of the royal couple.
The monarchy is very deeply rooted in the affections of the British, and so are the present royal family, and I see nothing that's going to change that.
From the royal family themselves, as ever, no comment. But there are many tonight prepared to speak up on their behalf.
The Social Security Secretary, Peter Lilly, is preparing to announce a temporary cash aid package for Maxwell Pension Fund victims. 2,000 Maxwell pensioners are expected to rally in Westminster tomorrow to demand government compensation.
Jack Clark has worked all his life as a printer and stands to lose thousands in pension rights. Now the government is ready to provide temporary cash aid to help people like him. It's welcome news.
It's a good move. I think it is a good move. We've tried, we've pushed, and now I think we've broken through. But it's only the beginning of the push. Now we must carry on.
The Social Security Secretary is anxious to show the government has compassion. Campaigners say temporary aid isn't enough.
What we're looking for is an unconditional